What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Tim Tszyu. Tim Tszyu responds to the reflection of the fight he had with Fundora and the cut that he had, and Tszyu isn't pleased with how his corner handled the cut on his head, which a lot of people did mention how poorly that was done. Okay, a lot of people are thinking foul play and, conspiracy and things like that. Well, before we go into any of that, okay, let's check and see what one of the best cut men we have, Stich, Moran, had to say. Okay, and here he is.
Getting all kinds of messages and just finished doing an interview regarding the cut on Tim Tszyu. Unfortunately, that big vein that we have right there, if you pop it, you're not going to stop it. And he got the cut, it's the same vein. But it's important to have a good corner with you because they should have stopped it before the start of the fifth round. It would have been a no contest. They would have had a chance for a rematch and then protect him. I felt sorry for him. I felt bad that all the techniques that were being used on him were not the proper techniques on how to handle a cut. So I wish Tim Tszyu the best.
And those are the words of Stich Moran. And let me counterpunch. I do agree, and that's exactly what I said. I said the same things. Like, if the cut is that bad, and the way it was free-flowing, even the doctors looked at it, and I think they were trying to give him the benefit of the doubt, of course, to keep the fight going on. But if he couldn't see, and you could see him pawing at the eye all night. He was pawing at that eye. And if he couldn't see, his corner should have took it upon themselves like, look, you can't see. Okay? And you're in front of a guy that's 6'6" with an 80-inch reach to your 72-inch reach. Okay, so he's towering over you, throwing the jab, throwing punches at will, and you only have one eye sometimes. Because the way the cut was coming through over his whole face. And I don't think that was fair to him. And I do agree with Stich Moran. They should have stopped that fight. Because if you go to the fourth round, if it's before the fourth, they will stop it, and it is a no contest. If it goes past that, then if it gets stopped after that, that means Fundora would win by default. Okay, so they should have known better. I don't know if they were proud dummies or they were just to the point where maybe Tszyu could do what he did do, but they could have told from the activity that he had from the third round that there was no way that was going to get any better for Tszyu if you guys couldn't even stop it. They had no Vaseline over the eyebrows to at least stop it at a point where it would at least stay at that level, so he could see, so he can conduct his business and fight. They didn't do any of that shit. So if I'm Tim Tszyu, I would fire the corner. Because I don't think they were reliable in the way that it was going to do. Even Stich Moran said, look, that's not going to stop. You know what I mean? And it didn't stop. Okay, that's where all your blood comes from. And looking at more of the same, taking a look at the elbow, and it was from the elbow of Fundora. Now, did Fundora do it? No, he ran into it. He didn't do it intentionally. He ran into that elbow, okay? He ran into it. So, you can't blame Fundora. Fundora, right? You can't blame him. And it was just unfortunate, the height difference, the height of Fundora compared to everything else. And to look more on it, it's, a lot of people think that the fight should have been stopped, which it should have been. It should have been, and they just handled that poorly. A lot of people are talking about conspiracy because he's supposed to fought Erickson Lubin. He's supposed to fought Keith Thurman. Then they throw him in there with Fundora. And I think that's just the spirit of Tszyu. I think sometimes humbleness, bypasses intelligence, or better judgment. So he's willing to fight everyone. I guess he has to keep that up. But, that's why you need protection and people behind you that's going to stop you from making decisions. that fight shouldn't have went past 4 rounds. That shit happened in the end of the second or the beginning of the third. So you still had 2 rounds to figure out, look, this ain't going to help us. This is not going to end well for us. This is not going to stop bleeding. This fight needs to be stopped, and it would have been okay because you look at the outcome. Okay? That cut was not going to go anywhere. Now, if it was on the side, maybe the temple, it wouldn't have got into his eye. It was a bad position of where that cut was. But he should have had a good enough, a more professional enough corner in that fight to see that. Okay? But you guys tell me what you think of Tim Tszyu and this unfortunate elbow that he clashed into. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch.
Peace.